Aloha and welcome everyone to this live Heart to Spirit Connections webcast for uh, March. I'm getting lost in the months because seems to be just flying. Uh, and March 2026, and this is the Heart to Spirit Connections, and this is a monthly free webcast expanding our heart's connection with spiritual guidance to feel the balance on all four bodies: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And we're doing that together, discovering new levels of self love using the tools of ancient Lemurian wisdom, including signature cell healing, the 10 principles of consciously creating, Lemurian numerology, and more. So, our topic today is appropriately Lemurian healing: move from fear to love. And this is actually the title of, I believe, the first chapter in Kirill the Great Shift book from Kahu Fred Sterling and Master Guide Kirill, moving from fear to love. But I changed that to move from fear to love because it kind of gives that impetus of what we need to do now. All of us, everyone on this earth plane, it's an opportunity for all of us to move through our journeys from fear into love. And before we get too deeply into this, I'd like to begin with an opening prayer. So please join me and just sit comfortably and take 5 deep breaths. We like 5 because that's the number for love in Lemurian numerology, and it figures prominently in signature cell healing. So just relax and just feel the energy of the golden particles above your crown chakra. And as you breathe in through your mouth or through your nose, just allow those particles, invite them in through your crown chakra and draw them down into your heart space. And in that magical space between the inhale and the exhale, just feel the energy weaving four bodies together: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And when you exhale, just feel your love expanding from that space, from your heart space, as I call upon the Creator's light, the Christ light, the Goddess weave of love, our Master Guide Kirill, the Master Kahu Fred, all the ancient energies of Lemuria, including the Chancellor of Lemuria, the elemental goddess sisters of Pele, Isis, Mariah, and Gaia, and the Lemurian goddess Weave to come forth and join us today in this gathering. We pray now that all the energies of love bring through me the wisdom that is needed at this time in our great shift in consciousness. And we're humbly, humbly grateful. And so it is in love. Amen. Okay, so that would be an opening prayer for our topic today, uh, Lemurian healing: move from fear to love. And so I just wanted to tell you that everybody's muted that's here with me live, and just raise your hand, with the little hand thingy. Or I can see all of you, so you can actually raise your hand, or even put it in the chat, which is open as well. Um, I'm just really grateful to have everybody here, and just to remind you that the Lemurian numerology now for this month, and we're just starting with this great Lemurian wisdom from Kahu Fred Sterling and Master Guide Kirill, and much of it, is found in the MP3 recordings that we still have on the Signature Cell Healing website in the online store, and in the books, ebooks, and print books from Kahu Fred Sterling and Master Guide Kirill. And the beautiful one about Lemuria is this beautiful one right here. And the aqua, for our aqua goddesses, this is Kirill Lemurian Legacy for the Great Shift. And it's a very special book because it's written in just different layers of understanding. So it's not a quick read. It's kind of a something that you would just weave with and sit with and maybe open it up and just read from wherever you find yourself. In any case, our Lemurian numerology, which you can find a brief summary of that on my website under the Lemurian self-healing section. Let me just check fast where we got that. Under wisdom, and then you'll find Lemurian self-healing. And there you'll find all the information about what we're going to talk about today, about the 10 principles, about signature cell healing, about the numerology, the goddess light. And there's just an abundance of information there. And if you start to explore a little bit in that wisdom section, you'll also find channeled guidance that I've brought through over the years about Lemuria and about the goddess light, and also steps to ascension, which is other different steps that you can use to elevate your awareness right now in this great shift. So before we get too far, and I could feel Sandra's energy right now, and she's saying, why don't you pull a Lemurian prophecy card? Okay, so I said 3 is our number because it's the third month of March, right? So 3 is the energy of truth, trust, and passion. And that is the number for the first 3 principles of the 10 principles of consciously creating: truth, trust, and passion. And this is the original trinity that we incarnate with. So we have the energy of our mother, energy of our father, and then our own blueprint energy that anchors that trinity in the passion point. So that is the stabilization, that is the foundation of our life on earth, or life in any incarnation, especially here on this earth plane. So when we come in, we are grounded in the trinity of truth, trust, and passion. Now, as we go forward in our journey, because in our energy is that blueprint that we put together of everything we wanted to do in this lifetime. We bring in the stuff from previous lifetimes. We set up for future lifetimes. It's all in the blueprint. And we plan it out so that we have the right people with us. We have all the energies around us that we choose to have. And we're working through that blueprint all the time. And that trinity is something that is just the very foundation. Now, if you have a 3 as your life path number, which some of you have in this program right now, that is always the focus of your energy, is balancing that trinity. And Master Guide Carol has said it's like the 3-legged stool. If one of those is off kilter, then the whole thing is off kilter. So if you have your truth and your trust aligned, but you haven't brought the passion to it, then you're going to tip a little bit until you can bring up the passion. Likewise with the truth factor, if that's not completely up there, you're going to have to rebalance that with your truth, balance with your trust and your passion. So that's something we all can think about this month, since we're in that energy in the full month of March. And I think it's a really beautiful time to do that. Because of everything that's unfolding in our great shift in consciousness. And it's not just unfolding out there. I'm sure you feel it unfolding in your own life as well as I do in mine. So it's always a reminder for us to take the next step and move from fear to love. So this is actually the secret of the Lemurians. I'm going to just put it out right on front, is they continually moved from fear to love, and began to move from love to enlightenment as they went from the 3rd dimension to the 4th dimension and into the 5th dimension. So why is that important now? It's important now because we are doing a similar journey, right? We're doing the journey of moving through our 3rd dimensional experience on Earth and letting that go, and moving then into the 4th dimension, which Master Carol has spoken and Kahu has spoken at length for many, many years here on the earth plane. And that's something that you can investigate in all of the wisdom that we have about Lemuria from them. So the numerology now is a great way to practice the numerology is to get yourself a card deck. And we actually learn how to do this in the online workshops now. We learn how to do the Lemurian prophecy cards, and it's a lot of fun. But I keep mine in this little box right here. And it's a simple card deck. Okay, so just a simple card deck. And what we're going to do first, before we pull a card, is shuffle 5 times because I told you, right? 5 is the energy of love. So we're going to shuffle them 5 times and put the energy of love into the cards. And then we'll take the deck and I'll ask you all to put your energy, those of you here live and also in advance, because time doesn't really exist. So those coming in on the recording, put your energy in here too. And we're going to take half the deck and put it on top like that. And then we're going to pull out the card, which is the 5 of clubs today, which is wonderful. And I don't know. Would you have any thoughts on that, Sandra? Because I know you love the Lemurian. No. Okay, shake your head. This is a wonderful card. And especially because um, I didn't tell you in advance that there are 4 suits of the cards, right? The diamonds, the hearts, the clubs, and the spades. And they represent, each one of those represents one of the 4 bodies: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And the clubs represents the mental body. The diamonds is the physical, the hearts is the emotional, and the spades is the spiritual. So we've got a 5, and I've already told you that 5 is the number for love. So I guess the short um, guidance from this card and from our beloved Lemurian Chancellor, Mafu, is think loving thoughts. That would be the simplest way to describe this card, and weave love into every thought that you have. And let me just set it back over here. You can see that, right? Yeah. Um, and what a perfect time to be weaving love into every thought, because if you don't, it can really go south, south these days. We really have to work with it, with the moving from fear to love. And by weaving love into every thought that you have, I'll get to you in just a minute, Sandra. You you are moving from fear to love by weaving love into your life. And this is how the Lemurians did it. They just continually wove love, love, love. And what the result of that is, or what happens when we do that, is the ego that we have that we think is our protection, or the ego that could isolate us or identifies us as who we are as this incarnation, right? It starts to dissipate a little bit, and there's more love that comes in, and we understand a little bit more that we're all connected, and that everyone, and everything on earth is a part of a beautiful weave of the Creator's light. And as we weave love into who we think we are, and into our thoughts and everything that we do, then we can see more of what is really the truth, right? All right, so Sandra, let's go to you. You had a question there. Gotcha.
You said it all, Karina. But before today, I thought, okay, maybe because we're in Pisces. Am I right? So that's like a water or emotion sign plus 3. Um oh no, why did I think of 3 as being like
March.
emotion the trinity, but what else? It was associated with emotions or the heart. But
Yes.
and I said to myself, I don't see how we can pick a mental card, but we did. You, well, you did. And I
Well, you
so,
did. You all did.
well, so we need to leave love. That I can understand the importance of that because I was thinking too. I was thinking about what card we should pick, that kind of thing. And we can weave love into the trinity, like
Wow,
to
that
balance.
is beautiful, Sandra. Thank you
No,
for
you
sharing.
said it all. You said it all perfectly. Thank you, though.
Okay, you're welcome, and I thank you too. Um, wow, just someone came up when you were talking about that, Sandra, because yeah, don't confuse the mental body with, just the brain here, right? The mental body can also be your omni-consciousness, your connection into your higher self. And, when we weave love into our thoughts, that puts us into the fourth dimension because the number four is representative of balance of the four bodies, but also thought. And if you go into the early materials from Master Kirill and Alfred Sterling, you're going to see the number four associated with thought. And thought, once we get into out of the third dimension and into the fourth dimension fully, we must be very careful with our thoughts. And even now, I don't know if you see that yourselves or not, but when we think of something, it manifests very quickly. And this is the energy of the new dimension in thinking, you know, our creation. And it's best to do it in love because then we have a manifestation that is fully in love and not in fear. And fears will also manifest through thoughts. So it really does become important to weave love into it. Okay. Well, that brings us clearly through one of the beautiful energies that Master Guide Kirlian Kahu introduced to us for the Lemurian wisdom, and that is the numerology and the prophecy cards. Of course, they also created, and it's a great way to practice that numerology. And what you can do is, first of all, it's really important, excuse me, for you to know your Lemurian life path number. And you would do that by adding the day, the month, and the year of your birth, and then putting it all down into one digit, bring it all down to one digit. And that would be your Lemurian life path number. And that will give you guidance for weaving through your blueprint, going through what you're going through, weaving with each month of the year. So you combine it with the month of the year to understand what's happening. There's just so much you can do. And it's very revealing. So get your Lemurian life path number and start to meditate with it, weave with it. And you're going to find a great way of receiving guidance. So the Lemurian healing can be self-healing. It's self-healing. And there's all kinds of tools for that. So we've got, the prophecy cards as a way to go through. And you can also, I also do readings with the cards if you're ever interested in that. Do a full card reading, and that's always interesting because it's not just one card; it's like a whole bunch of cards, and you can receive a whole stream of guidance. So let's weave a little bit more into our topic. And this is something I'd like to tell you from Master Guide Kirill. And it's something that I found in this book. It's a quote from Master Kirill, and I've got it on the website, so I'm just going to read it right from there. In the book, Master Kirill says, and like I say, the Lemurian wisdom that we find in this book is woven on 7 levels of awareness, and 7 is a number for transition. And so Master Guide Kirill is an energy from the seventh light, and therefore he's weaving 7 levels of awareness into all of these books. So it helps if you read them 7 times, first of all, and also weave your love into it. I have a client now who is reading this book over here, Cure the Great Shift, which I recommend because there's also a chapter on Lemuria and ancient societies in this book. Did you know that? So in here is a chapter about Lemuria also. And he's reading this book now and saying he just is enthralled with this idea of moving from fear to love. So I think this is the basic thing that I would like you to take from this webcast is if we can weave love into everything and watch our fears dissipate in that love, or we get clarity on it. So that brings us to the next part of the Lemurian wisdom, and that is the 10 principles of consciously creating. And there's a book on it, and there's also something about it in this book, and a little bit in all the books. There's a little bit about the 10 principles. You can also look on my website in that same section about Lemurian self-healing, and you'll get a whole summary on the 10 principles. It's so important because this is the guidance that the Lemurians had to move them from fear to love. So truth, trust, and passion are the first three. Clarity, communication, and completion. And then the four pillars of prayer, meditation, sleep state programming, and masterminding anchor our energy with guidance. So it's our way of communicating from our human light into the spiritual realm. So when we talk about heart to spirit connections, that's the way to do it. Get into the four pillars and all the 10 principles. Because the clarity, communication, and completion, those three commitments, will help us in our human world manifest what it is that we want to create. So having the clarity, communication, and completion. And all of that is anchored on the truth, trust, and passion, the first three principles. So the Lemurians didn't have laws and they didn't have like a government. They had councils and they had the 10 principles to guide them to being more and more in love all the time. And those 10 principles took them from third dimension to fourth dimension, and then into the fifth dimensional light, which is pure love, a pure awareness of love. So we are now um, going back through this Lemurian journey again, moving from the third dimension, which we all live in it, right? It's the yin and the yang, and this is good, and war and peace, and good and bad, everything like that in the yin and yang. We're moving through that and elevating into a higher awareness of love. And love is permeating this earth plane right now in order for us to do that. The Lemurians, I mean, as far as a dimensional shift, which all evolutionary planets go through, we're not exclusive in this, right? But the Lemurians left us help and assistance and wisdom to help us through these times. And these are the times from third to fourth that are pretty, it can be dicey, it can be tricky. We need to understand a lot about the reflection of our fears and what do we see out in the world is what's reflected back to us as, something we're fearing. Fortunately, we have the 10 principles of consciously creating to pray, to weave love into it. And so the other aspect of the Lemurian wisdom is signature cell healing. And that's the book that you see up there. I didn't have room for it on my table. Right there is signature cell healing. And you can learn more about that on the signature cell healing website, signaturecellhealing.com. And I also do online workshops, and there'll be one later this year. We also have, if you've taken a signature cell healing class from Fred Sterling or me, you please join our graduates review class every third Saturday, and we illuminate all the different methods of healing through signature cell healing, and we'd love to have you join us. So signature cell healing is the Lemurian healing brought through Kahu Fred Sterling and Master Guide Carol. And you can learn more about that on the website. But it is the journey from fear to love. It is the healing on all four bodies, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, creating that balance that allows us to heal and to move to the next level, continually to move to the next level. So the Lemurians lived their lives with loving intention. So they put love into everything, and they used the Lemurian tools of conscious creation to move from fear to love. So I've talked about the numerology and the prophecy cards and the signature cell healing. And um, I want to read this little quote from Master Guide Kirill from this book. And Master Kirill said, as you begin to weave your own knowing into these practices, the discovery that you were in possession of much of this material all along will boggle the mind. My way of explaining this information can only act as a key that opens the gateway you have placed in your learning through the system of the veils. Tis me hope that the learned cycles that have bound your awakening world will become an ever expanding vision of portals into a new and impassioned promise. Each thought I project, your willingness to stretch, will move you to new, exciting ways of determining that you control your world. By having the courage to go beyond that which the present day teachers have allowed you to see as limits, you will see a world filled with mind expanding information. So, in this book, as you read it, you'll start to become more and more aware of your own Lemurian legacy. And that might have to do with your goddess light. And the goddess light in Lemuria was a huge guiding factor. And as the Lemurians moved from third dimension to fourth dimension, they were more and more interactive with the goddess light. And the goddess light is within all of us, male or female. It is the particle of love from the creator source itself. And we all have this love within us. And especially for the women, it might be a little more easy to awaken to this because we have the double X chromosome, and that creates a double balance. And that energy is balanced on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. So when we awaken our goddess light, and there's some writings and some readings and some energy on my website all about the goddess light. You can find out your Lemurian goddess color. You can find out your Lemurian goddess name. There's all kinds of things that you can do with the Lemurian goddess light to begin to activate that particle within you. And as you are wanting to, as you're able to, as the veils are lifting, you're going to expand more and more into your Lemurian goddess light. And yeah, but for me, that is what shifted my entire world is understanding that I was a purple goddess. And so you gotta have a scarf and get into that. But it's really more than just a scarf, right? So yeah, so find a little bit more about that on my website. And um, you can even meditate now that you know these things. Have a meditation and ask your higher self, well, what about this Lemurian goddess light? What is my goddess color? And who am I in the goddess light? And what? Please help me to understand a little bit more about Lemuria. So you yourself can also find a lot of information about that. Um, so I think if I'll just take a breath and see if there's any questions that you'd like to ask or any shares that you'd like to bring in to the conversation. All right. Does it? Yes. Mary Faith, please. You got it? Yeah.
I guess every time I turn on the TV, I go into deep fear.
Hmm.
because the world is in such a horrible state right now. And I don't know how to transform that into love.
Well, part of it is the way that you personally see it, right? Um, it is there is a element, and I know what you're talking about. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I'm kind of discerning about what I watch, because Master Guide Kirill always said the everyone has an interpretation of what's going on, and that includes the news media. So whatever you are watching, remember that it is a business for them, and they have a responsibility to report the news, but they're doing it as a business. And if you watch more and more and more, that's better business for them. And also, it creates more fear, and that's what you're feeling. So when I look at the news, I watch a lot of local news, and because I want to know what's going on in my neighborhood. And I'm very discerning what I watch, and I watch it with an eye on knowing that it's the great shift in consciousness, and that not everyone is going to make it through to the fourth light. And so there is this energy of third dimensional um, yin and yang that's going to hold on to this earth plane until the light comes up and we shift into the fourth light. So, you know, watch what you are open to. And when you feel the fear, send love. So for example, when I hear something's going on, or I can't, something happened, um, a friend of mine in Lake Tahoe, I think you know her, I'm not going to say her name, experienced a lot of energies there about the avalanche and losing friends in the avalanche, and really a lot of really amazing things going on in her life right now. And my response to that was to go into prayer and meditation and immediately send light to that community. And I hope that you all can understand how much that makes a difference, uh, us sending our light somewhere. So if you feel a certain area of the world is in darkness, then send your light and just take the time instead of being enveloped in that fear and being drawn down with it. Elevate your vibration, light up your goddess light, go into meditation, and send your higher self or send your energy over. I mean, like in your mind, just like see yourself going. I saw myself going over the Pacific Ocean and to this area and just lighting it up in love. Just love, love, love. And, not immediately, but the next day, this person texted me back again that one particular thing that was very personal to her had been resolved, and it was a health issue. It was resolved, and she and her husband were shocked. And I'm not saying that it's just that prayer that did it, but what if it was?
Yeah.
What if we could make a difference? And that's why we do this global healing meditation for Mother Earth every month. We're not just playing around here. We're actually praying. So don't discount the tools of ancient Lemurian wisdom. And I know it can be really difficult, especially if we are immersing ourselves in that third dimensional energy, right? And we do that. We all do it. I kind of don't watch as much news as I used to. I watch a lot of baseball.
Mm.
I think it's a lot of fun because it's rules based, and yeah. So I would say, Mary Faith, and I'll get to you, Martina, just to say, send love, Send love, whatever you're feeling, whatever comes up for you. Just take a moment, turn off the TV, and just send love to wherever in the earth. And you know what I'm talking about. You know the places, right? We know where the wars are happening. We know the conflicts. And this is where light workers like us and goddess lights, we got to step up now and we got to send our light and understand that, on a higher level, there is something very different going on here. And it's the great shift in consciousness. So that's my answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Um, Go ahead, Martina. I'm going to ask you to unmute there.
So the practice that I'm doing is when I do my prayers, I pray for certain things, but I also pray for the well-being of all animals and all people in this world, besides the people that I know that are having a very hard time. And at the end of my prayer, I say that my intention is that my prayers will be connected with all other people, like-minded people like me, who are doing prayers, that my prayers will be combined with theirs, so then that all the people who pray, the power of the light is exponentially so powerful, and it can make a huge difference, because it's not just me, it's all like us in the webcast and all other peoples who are on the same wavelengths. And that power of that light in that prayer, that what I believe is so powerful, and it goes out in the world to the places where it's needed.
Wow. Wow, that's great, Martina. Thank you for sharing that. I have no, what am I going to say? That's awesome because that sends your prayers into the weave surrounding the earth plane and it enlightens that mastermind of fear. There's a mastermind of fear in our covering our world. And if you go out there in prayer and meditation, you might see that like as a gray energy in certain parts of our planet. And we can actually send, get your energy woven in with others, like you said, and send it there, and just send it there. And also pray for Mother Earth. This is Mother Earth's great shift as well, right? She's shifting. And that's what's shifting us. Mother Earth is shifting. We're not shifting her, she's shifting us. So her energy is elevating into the fourth light because she is done with the third dimensional experience. There's nothing more that we can experience in the third dimension, right? It's all been done, guys. So we're elevating into the fourth light, and that's in alignment with Mother Earth. So as we can light up Mother Earth and hold her in love, then we connect light workers into that weave that you're talking about, Martina. That's just perfect. That's wonderful. Let me just say, in addition to that, there's someone in our graduates review class that we haven't seen in a while, and I know why, because she had a very profound experience. I'm not going to say who it is. She had a very profound experience where her higher self took her into meditation and took her up, and she was aware of it. And if you've had a meditation like this, you don't forget it. It's very impactful. Up above the earth, and had her send her light into an area wherever it was on earth that looked kind of brown and kind of gray. It was a lower vibrating energy. And she her higher self had her weave her light into it. And the place started to enlighten, more light into it, and then it kind of came back again. But when she wove it in again, it came back again. So you can imagine, Martina, and thank you for bringing this up, that when we're collectively doing this, we can all make an impact, and we can elevate the energy of these areas that we're focusing on. So that is the beauty of the 10th principle of the 10 principles of consciously creating, masterminding. And when we are masterminding together with a group of people, we can actually go into meditation, and have that mastermind that we're weaving our love into these areas around the planet. So, I mean, once that you have a meditation like that, and let's go ahead and try it. Let's do it now. Any other questions before we go into the meditation? So, just before we go into the meditation, just, think about exploring a little bit more about the Lemurian wisdom, because this is what signature cell healing is based upon. And if you've been interested in signature cell healing, where does it come from? What does it mean? It came from Lemuria and from Kahu Fred Sterling, who wove it together for us in our great shift. And Master Guide Kirill, of course, also. And all these tools are in signature cell healing. Everything I've talked about today is in signature cell healing. So explore that, with me, or, through readings or whatever, signaturecellhealing.com or my own website, KarinnaNielsen.com, and just explore what appeals to you at this time in your great shift, because it's a personal great shift, and it's a collective great shift, and it's a great shift of Mother Earth. So I probably did that backwards, but it is going to affect each of us personally. So if you think, why am I having this problem? What is this about? It's your great shift, it's my great shift. And we have the tools to work through it and to understand the fears and move more and more into love. It's not going to happen from, personally from one day to the next. This is an ongoing daily experience that we're having, and we can choose to elevate that experience more and more into love every day. Okay, so let's just sit back as we come to the end of our time, but we have enough time for this. So just sit back for a moment and take some more of those deep breaths, bringing in the golden particles, and invite them in through your crown chakra. Golden particles of the Creator's light. Bring them down through the pineal gland in the center of your head, through the signature cell with the blueprint, and activate that energy as you breathe. Every time you breathe, you're activating that blueprint, and you bring it down into your heart chakra. And just weave the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual bodies together. And as you exhale, let that light expand out from your heart. And just feel yourself centered in this beautiful energy of love. And just keep breathing. And just see yourself now standing in front of a door. And as you look at this door, you realize it's just open just a little bit. And there's light coming out of it. So you reach and you open the door. And suddenly all this light is pouring out on you. And it's just so beautiful. And so you step into this energy. You take a step over the threshold and another step. And you're standing in this beautiful energy of love. And you can feel it. So breathe it in a moment. And have a look down at your feet and see what you're wearing on your feet. Are you barefoot? Have you got any shoes on? What sort of shoes are they? And so you decide to take this step forward on this path, and you understand that all around you is this beautiful forest. And there's little animals running around on the ground and birds singing, and it's a beautiful forest with a little stream rolling by along the path. And when you look into this energy, you realize you're in the purple forest of Lemuria. And this is the energy that the Lemurians lived in, this elevated energy of love. So just take a moment and walk forward a bit now. And then you see over on your right-hand side is a bench. It looks like a, little comfortable little bench. And you're going to sit down there for a moment. And you're just going to breathe in this energy. And you start to feel within you this peace, this feeling of peace, like you're surrounded in love and you're in a forest without fear. There's only love surrounding you. Love in everything, love in the trees, love in the sunshine, love in the water rolling by and the little animals like squirrels or birds. Everything feels so loving. And in this space, you begin to consider the world outside that door, where you came from to begin this meditation. And I'd like you to just send a light from your heart back into the world that you entered from. So whatever your daily life is, whatever you are feeling before you entered this Lemurian energy, just send it love and light and keep sending it as you see it start to shift and you start to see things that might have been out of love aligning to love, and that feeling of no judgment, no fear, only love, and that sense of allowance of everyone doing a journey through their evolution in the Creator's light. And just send love into your life. And just breathe. And just feel the awareness of where you are now, fully centered in love. Let yourself sit in this energy for a moment and just continue to breathe. And feel the perfection of your life. And when you're ready, stand up from the bench and begin to walk back towards the door, and know that you can return here anytime you like. And in fact, you're bringing this energy with you in your heart. And so anytime that you want to return here, you just sit and you activate the Lemurian love in your heart. And you just sit in that energy wherever you are at any time. You just sit quietly and allow that love to elevate within you and to expand all through your energy and around you anytime that you like. So with that in mind, walk back through the door and return to where you began the meditation, knowing you can come back here anytime you like. And so it is in love. Okay, as we gradually come back, um, I hope you enjoyed the meditation. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it because I don't remember it. Must have been channels. So I'm really grateful for all of you that joined me here today. And I'm looking forward to seeing many of you on the third Saturday of this month. And we're going to be talking about the secrets of Lemurian healers and bring more enlightenment to signature cell healing. So I hope you'll join me for that. And otherwise, I wanted to mention that to continue your practice of the five breath self healing meditation, and you can read about that on the Signature Cell Healing website. Um, Daily practice of breathing is very important. And also, we are doing a monthly global healing meditation, and the next one of those is on March 29th, and it's 4 days before the full moon. And we join together around the world at 9 p.m. your local time. So we're creating this wave of light going around the planet, and we're sending our light to Diamond Head Crater, and that's where we create the weave. So I hope you'll read about that on my website, KarinnaNielsen.com. You can email me at Karinna@KarinnaNielsen.com. If you have any questions, our next Heart to Spirit Connections webcast is April 4th. And then we'll be in the energy of Aries, Sandra. And that's my forte. So I hope to see you then. I'm looking forward to it. And I wish you all wonderful healing month of March and enjoy the equinox energies that are coming up on the 20th. It's a wonderful time for ceremony and a new beginnings. So thank you so much, and aloha from Lemuria. Take care, everyone.